Good evenings. Switch down later. Yeah, it's I normally don't stream this well early the Wednesdays, and so it's nearly two in the morning for me here. So yeah, I really wasn't not sure what to do. So I was like, why not? And I had at least one person here. It is uh let's see who it is. Ah, our friendly Canadian, Cool the Bad Parrot.
Hey, come on.
Oh man, I was like first pretty expecting we could do some smash and pass, but yeah, since at least in the after stream, but since Game Guy never actually showed up, so that happened.
Oh, that's why he couldn't. He's mudding for Triforce again.
Um, I don't know. I have no idea if he is trying to, if he is
He just said on Discord he was. Oh no.
really. He were.
Yes. Well, he is.
He said that I hate phone edition. Uh,
I'm what? He just said, "Wait, what? I'm mudding for Triforce so I can join."
ah, now okay, now he's saying it. Okay, because when you
Oh.
said that, I was like, because when you said it, I was wait. He said that earlier, but he wasn't that. Yeah. So
But honestly, I
uh,
wouldn't. I wouldn't have minded to do it like just with you know.
I mean, how much fun would it be to just only two people?
Well, at least we could entertain each other. Ooh, that did sound right. I mean,
I mean, we could probably do it sometime. I mean, that depends where when you're going to head out to bed. Since personally, I don't even actually have any time to go to bed. I go to bed around um, maybe maybe almost 8 hours from now. I can go to bed around 8 or 9 in the morning if I wanted to. I don't even have any particular schedule, no work tomorrow, so I can be up all night, and I'm pretty used to by it now. The only thing is that can keep me awake if I go to bed or say 4 to 5 in the morning, and the only thing that can wake me up is my cat. When he meows, it is pretty loud. It's pretty strong tone. Unlike my brother's male cat, he has that cat. It doesn't even say my brother's cat when it speaks. Well, when it meows, it doesn't sound like a meow. It sounds like almost like a peep, like a bird peep. It's because it's so low toned. I mean, it's pretty. Oh man. Uh, I've, I have actually been updated some Smash and Pass list for both. It's gonna be as streams. There is actually several folders I hadn't even been worked on yet, which is Disney Edition, Marvel Edition, Pokemon Edition, and Sonic Edition. The only thing is, I
considering
did
Halloween is approaching, there should be a horror edition.
doubt it, doubt it, because here's the thing. I did actually include it, Chica once in one of the past streams, and first of all, everyone was say pass because
Wait, Chica?
how the
I would smash.
well, yeah, I mean, I think you said smash, but the rest of us say pass. It's like, how the hell do you even smash in animatronics? Hmm? Because
Well, if you
he,
are an animatronic yourself, you can.
well,
Depends on your character.
well, that depends. Yeah, I mean, if Chica were the as animatronic. Of like, how do you even smash an animatronic if you're a human and she's like a robot? It doesn't even work unless if she was real, like a living individual. That would be
Well,
that.
technically, the animatronics are technically ghosts. So
Oh wait, I think the main reason why the most of us said pass on Chica in that Smash and Pass, it was because, as you said, she and the rest of the animatronics are possessed by ghosts, by the ghost of children that was killed. So that we didn't say Smash on. And as
yeah,
for
well,
the
hmm. I don't know if the spirits can get older, but I guess they would.
no, no, I mean no. If you're, if, for example, like this, if you were still only like a 5-year-old and died at the fight, you will still remain as a 5-year-old ghost. You wouldn't even age because ghosts can't age.
Okay, so you
Like
can't age physically, but what about mentally?
mentally, as a ghost, if I mean, if you die as a 5-year-old or even as a 10-year-old, you will still evolve, well, developmentally as getting older and more. I mean, you can be more mature with, brighter with over time, but your actually your physical or non-corporeal body as a ghost won't age. But some in a certain franchises, there are the fact that ghosts can alter their appearance to some,
Yeah.
like in Scooby Doo, the Boo Brothers. Some of them actually was able to, like, get this. One of the brothers was actually was able to turn his own head to an actual lamp. So, but physically, if you died as a 10-year-old and the spirit or ghost would still remain as a 10-year-old, you still will be able to get smarter. It may actually be in your mind and itself will still be could mature over time, but as a ghost body, it wouldn't even age at all. But that depends on, say, like say the ghost in from Harry Potter series, like almost headless Nick and the bloody bird Baron and all those other ghosts. They died at certain age, and they had also they can't even do anything else. But that also depends, like say, from different franchise or different series games that has ghosts, like Casper. Casper can't change; he can't even age. And in fact, how old is Casper really? That's another thing about it.
Hmm.
Because
That's an
here,
interesting question.
here's something that's, even though, okay, let's see if I can say this. Let's ask Chat GPT, how old is Casper the Ghost? Because even though he looked to be very young, I mean, he could be as maybe 5, he could be a 10-year-old, who can even be a 13-year-old. So how old is Casper really? Because
I actually don't know enough about him to know that.
no,
Actually, I
it
don't
may.
even know anything about him. I just know the name and the appearance.
Well, here's the thing. Casper the Friendly Ghost is usually portrayed as a ghost of a child who died at young age. In the original Paramount Famous Studios cartoons from the 1940s and 50s, Casper simply shown as a ghost child with no specific age given. But
Oh.
But, however, in later adaptations in comics, he is often depicted as around 12 years old when he died. And in the 1995 live-action movie Casper, it's
Mm-hmm.
revealed it's revealed that his full name is Casper McFadden, and he died of pneumonia at age 12. But that is just that. since in the original film that he were in fact made in the 40s and 50s, due to the fact that his age wasn't given of any precise specific age when he was made in that as a character. Another thing that when he was in the first live action for the 1995, he um, he was 12 years old, died from pneumonia during the winter. But the thing is, his father was so grief stricken by that his only son had died from pneumonia. So he invented a machine that could permanently restore a ghost to a living being. But the fact he never was able to do so. And
Yeah.
he also invented this elixir, this like a potion that was able to make it happen. But sadly, only one bottle of this potion was ever made.
Yeah.
But Casper, his his own mother, who was an angel, actually made him mortal, made him alive again, but only until midnight. Kind of like Cinderella version. So, but that is just one of the versions of Casper actually. Considering they also made some other uh, more live action movies of Casper later on, where he met uh, Wendy the witch, and it's also that the fact in those three other ghosts, Fatso and his the trio or his uncles. In the first movie, it seems that the first live action, it seems that they in fact is his uncles. But in the next live action movie they made of Casper, it was way different because first Casper in the first live action ever made, he lived in a small house or like a type of mansion house on a cliff hill outside of town. But in the next one they made, he lived in an old mansion in the middle of a town with his uncles. And I had to wonder, are those three ghosts along with him even somehow even related to him in a past life? But there is even another movie about Casper who actually was sitting on a train and he wasn't even aware that he had died. So the main question is, which one of the movies are even considered as continuity or even part of canon? And the fact that we don't, even though in the first movie that Casper as live action said that he's 12 when he died, but and as in the 40s and 50s when his character was made, never mentioned it precise. And yeah, so I don't even know for a fact if he is even 12 years old or even of all the movies that Casper even part of the same continuity. I mean, I loved Casper growing up. I mean, I saw the first live action um, maybe only a few years after it was made, since the movie was made in 1995, and I saw it probably when I was like 7 or 8, so like 2, 3 years later. I mean, it's kind of an amazing the story was actually is. I love Casper. He was really outgoing and he had no problem to make friends, but many people are hate or are terrified of ghosts, despite Casper is so friendly. It's kind of hurts that people despise him for the fact that he, even though he's a very friendly ghost.
Oh, uh, hold on. Ah, damn it! I gotta go do the dishes again.
So yeah, people. Um, even though the Casper, even though Casper was a main character from the 1940s and 50s, even back then, when Casper wasn't given much a precise age, how old he were when he died, and but even though even though when he in the live action movie in the first one he appeared, when Casper first appeared in the first live action movie, when he precise that was the first movie when he actually first age was given, that he was 12 when he died. But his ghost doesn't even seems to be almost big, like tall enough to could be as a 12-year-old. So people may have seen Casper, the movies, and that those three ghosts that he is so-called uncles. I mean, the thing is, the first movie of Casper, he lived in this small mansion house style of outside of a small town on a cliff. But in another movie they made sometime after that, he had somehow moved from that place to another mansion in the middle of a new town. And those uncles also lived with him. And in another movie, he was sitting on a train unaware that he had died. So you ask, are there any other movies of this Casper even part of a continuity? Or at least part of canon? I may have to say no, because first, he was living as one. It is only there's actually only one movie that gives so much background, like how old he were when he died, and how he looked like as a human, and also some of his background of his parents and how he died. But in some other movies they happened, it didn't. It just never given much of that. And even when he was first, as his character was first created back in the 1940s and 50s, he was never given at any precise specific age. So many people could have presumed that he could have been, I don't know, 5 years old, 10 years old, or perhaps even as, I don't know, 18 years old, but no one had much given much precise age. And those three ghosts of uncles, in the first movie, where he first is a live action, it's possible that he could actually be his uncles. But in the later movies, I don't think they might actually not even be his uncles, but only took the role as. I mean, it's possible that they just took the role as uncles to Casper. If he was just a child who had died, has recently died, and wasn't it aware, or at least not sure how to behave as a ghost, so they took on the role as uncles, teachers, in order to teach him how to be a proper ghost. Like, since many knows that ghosts are supposed to be haunting, scaring people. But Casper, in his nature as a ghost, even though he's just a child ghost, he can't have, even though, okay, I would say in his heart sense, basically he doesn't even have one, but his feelings, his emotional that he hasn't, doesn't even have it in him, that he can't scare others. But I think it's possible that he may want to scare some pretty bad people. Let's say if I don't know, burglars, that was someone breaking in a house. But other from that, I don't think that Casper can be a proper terrifying ghost. Many people who have growing up watching him in this original comics about him from the 40s and 50s, and even some of the old cartoons they made of him, and of course the live actions, Casper has always captured the audience for his kindness, his being as a curious mind. People may understand from can actually see him as themselves in many perspectives. Personally, I can see them myself. I mean, I'm always a curious person. I'm curious. I'm always hard, kind to others, but I'm not kind to others who don't obey. Okay, I would say not say obey, but if I had someone to say to act as if I had someone close to me, a friend who suddenly starts betraying me or acting so coldly. And then suddenly, well, like I said, if I had a close friend who suddenly betrayed me for some reason, I would not be kind to the person. Of course, it did depend on certain situation, circumstances to why I would even be kind to someone. I know there are many people who have been watching my streams, and how many often times I had freaked out. You may wonder. I've been streaming for the past 3 years, and so you may think, how many times has Switch Diablo ever freaked out or even flipped in his own streams? That has happened actually a few times, but those streams are always deleted because there are in fact some times when even I was pretty mad at some times, especially when does that particular troll happen in my streams. And when this troll started being not target besides me, but Kubo was one of the people that was targeted by this troll, and of course even Game Guy was even one of the two people that was targeted by him. And I was like, what the hell happened here? Because having a troll in my streams, it's not something I don't prefer. So every time when there's someone who is starting to act like a complete idiot, or even just simply as be nasty or act like a troll in the comments, that will complete been a complete ban from the comments. The people who actually been like this. In fact, that troll, like I mentioned, happened to appear in a stream and said one particular word that is not, I say like this now, it's not accepted by any means. I can only say it is the N word.
Okay, I'm back in. And why did I come back to someone to you saying that?
I want to only mention about the troll that targeted you and Game Guy a couple of months ago, and when he said the N word in my stream and also in Game Guy's stream. So
Yeah,
that was pretty bad. I mean, I I only want to mention also that how many times that I have freaked out or been pretty pissed off in my own streams. It had happened, people. It has happened,
yeah.
but
I mean,
it's
I
not a.
assume you don't really allow anyone to say that because I guess you don't really feel okay with it.
If you're referring to the N word,
Yeah,
hell no, hell no. I mean, first, Kubo, the N word is an offensive to the African American population.
I know that, but there are some cases where you can have the N pass, or so they call it.
Okay. First of all, Kubo, in order to get the end of that pass, you may have to ask some people for that. I mean, you can't give that type of pass to anyone just simply of like a free like that. It's not like the. It's not like you can do. I can't. In only order to do so. But despite, even if I did get a free pass to use the N word, I would still not even use it, regardless.
Oh, I
It's
see.
just, and I hope you don't either.
Yeah, no,
Even if
no,
you
no, I
have,
don't, I don't know, I don't know, I do do that.
even you have friends who is of African descent, like African American or African Canadians, and even they give you the pass to say the N word, I would even still not even say it because even if you say it to your friends who accept it and approve it, but they can have friends who not approving it. And trust me, you don't want to go in that road. What
Ooh,
did you?
I did not think
What
of
did
that.
you? Yeah, but I mean, it's something I would say. what did you think of my idea for the Halloween story? Robert, if you're referring to that cozy glow with furry heart as um, the Halloween party or night party at the Twice Castle, yeah, it's not bad choice and not a bad option. I mean,
Hmm.
and but if I had to be honest, I hadn't even thought much about it as an idea for the next Halloween story, even
Hmm.
before until you gave me the idea. But I had even first, I had not even worked on the script for that story yet, and I had even been uh, not even the script or even find the picture for it, but I still had time on for to do it since Halloween is by the end of October, so I had still plenty of time to do so.
Hmm. I do
But
have.
um,
Oh, sorry.
but
I
yeah, yeah, I think that something like that happens.
I do have some story ideas for Halloween, but they mostly involve strips with the villain from MLP, like Kovu X Pinkamina or something like that.
Did you say Stinkamina?
No, Pinkamina.
I thought, okay, like I was thinking, who the heck is Stinkamina?
No, Hey, Jesus, that would be
That is pretty. That is
that is
pretty. That would have
so.
been like, that would have been weird. Like first, who? What was it? Okay? Because if there's a character that names Stingamina, it's like, hey, first, how did they even earn the name Stingamina? It's like, it's that. Oh man.
No, I meant Pinkamina.
Oh man. Okay. Speaking of characters of an MLP, as you know, I have been updating my Smash and Pass. That's gonna be for an after stream.
Yeah,
One, I actually added some characters from Pony Life, even though I had not even seen much of any of the official episodes. But there's actually one female character that is literally named Matt.
wait, what?
MAT. Yeah, there is a female character in Pony Life, an Earth pony named Matt. 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 And
Matt.
Matt is usually a male name, not a female.
Yeah, I know that.
Don't even ask me why, but but I included that in much of this story though. But speaking of some NLP stories, uh, I actually have several ideas in mind that I hadn't even worked on yet since. Woo, uh, Speaking of Cozy Glow, my girlfriend actually came up with, I think, around 10 theory videos ideas about Cozy. Like, since I made a post about what happened to her parents, what happened to them. I mean, ever since when Cozy moved to Palmerville, she only said that she had moved there recently, but she said never said from where and with who. And in fact, even we never that saw her family at all in any of the episodes, not even once were her family even mentioned. In
Hmm.
fact, I
I
mean,
do have theories about her parents as well, but I'm gonna hear yours first.
because say for the least one thing, she is roughly the same age as the Cutemar Crusaders, right? So
Yeah.
if she was like if she would like in if she wasn't living with her family, if she let's say in that video, I had like three theories of what happened to her, why she was living there. One is that she was a runaway and that she had run away from her home, that her family was fighting or something, or just or did that she may hated her family life or something. So even if she would have moved, so close moved to Pulmaville, if she had run away, wouldn't it be more logical that her family would search for her since she's a minor? So it's a better theory that she would have been a runaway. No, and but so even if she would have say been an orphan, even so, but even
Well,
if she
there I do have something about that I think her parents might have been abusive, so she had to leave them, which might
That's
explain
also
also why she would be so evil.
true. That might be true. But the thing is, another thing about this is that even if she would have been an orphan and also run away from the orphanage and decides to live in Ponyville, first, where would she living? If she said that she had moved to Ponyville, to the CMC, where exactly in Ponyville would she be living? Like, it's since she's a minor, it's very unlikely that she will even get any full-time job. She may only get a small part-time, but only a small that depends, like say, deliver mails or newspaper in the morning or do some chores at some place like cutting the grass or something. Only small type of works that don't get much paid. Okay, and since renting an apartment in Ponyville might be had some expenses, like the bills. Okay, the first Ponyville don't even have electricity. It seems that it is no possibility because, and in G5, they have both electricity, phones, computers, but in G4 that's like 300 years prior. So it is possible that even if that she wasn't an orphan, she may have lied in order to get a place to live and work. But as Figard has told me, it's possible that she could have been living in the castle's or the school's adornment dorms. But the fact is, we don't even know if the school have enough dorms and who paid for them. I mean, if you think about it, the young six or the student six, like Silverstream and those, if their families could have been the one to paying for their expenses for the school. But if you think about it, there's only one of the student six that may had a problem with that. That's Gallus.
Hmm?
Since Gallus literally confirmed in the holiday episode that he had no family. Because the
Ew.
other, yeah, because his friends assumed Grandpa Gruff, the old male griffin, was his grandfather. But they have no ties. They're not even related to anyone. They aren't even related. In fact, Grandpa Gruff is not even related to either Gilda or Gabby. That's only his name. But Grandpa Gruff is Gallus' legal guardian. That's it. But he has no obligation otherwise. But yeah, but there is
Well, did
another.
we see any of the young sisters' parents?
Yeah. Silver Stream, we know for a fact he has seen her family. She has a brother, Terramar, and both Terramar and Silverstream are cousins to Skystar, who is the next in line for the Hippogriff Kingdom, which means Skystar's mother is Queen Noble.
Hmm.
And yeah, and Ocellus, well, we have seen her parents and her younger siblings in one episode. Um, we have seen Jonah and her parents, her grandparents, and even her siblings.
Honestly, at
Um,
first I kind of thought that Thorax might have been Oxalus's father. At first,
mm, well, that's many probably assumed. We had even seen the Sandbar's family, his younger sister, and his parents. Um, okay, Smolder, we had only seen one of her family. That's his Garble, her
oh,
brother. But
oh god,
but uh, but but yeah. So basically, every single one of the young six or student six had families. But here's the other things. After that Twilight became the next ruler, what happened to the young six afterwards? Well,
Uh,
we know
well,
at least two. Okay, two of the characters we do know what happened to them. Jonah started working with Rarity in her boutique in Ponyville, along with Sandbar. At least I assumed, and I also assumed that Sandbar and Jonah are dating.
yeah.
And the another one we do know 100% is Gallus. He is the next captain of the guard in Canterlot.
Yeah. Well, we
And
do also see Smolder and Ocelot at the school, I think.
yeah, I mean, that's another thing. We know the fact that he's still at the school. I mean, and that's this smaller, looking at a few years older, holding that measuring device, and made me thinking: are they still students at the school, or are they somehow teachers? The School of Friendship, it doesn't even have an age limit of how old you have to be in it, required being it. I
Yeah.
mean, like the
Though we
school
do
don't.
also, sorry, we do also the CFC are teachers at the school.
Yeah, because here's the though. Here's the thing. Since that episode is set place years later after coronation. Okay, first we don't even know exactly how many years. That's the thing. But the thing is, we know for a fact that the CMC are now officially teachers at the school. But what about the rest of the young six? We know the fact that Ocellus, Smolder, and Silverstream are still at the school.
Yeah.
But but the thing is, we don't even know for a fact if they are still students or even teachers. That we not even know. It's
Or
because that has.
graduate.
I mean, yeah, and like I said, the school don't even have an age requirement because even when Cozy went into school, and she's probably around the same age as the CMC, around
Yeah.
like 10 or 12 years old, and some of the other students look to be could have been around the same age as the main six and like in their 20s. And the fact is, and some other characters say uh it's going pretty good so far, game guy. Just random talking, that's all. But yeah, so the eight, and even when the Twilight made the school, she didn't put in like an age limit of how old the students had to be. And like, how old are the young six, the student six? Like, how old is Gallus, Sandbar, Jonah, Smolder? Who knows how old they are? They may not even be the same age. I mean, they could have been a few years younger themselves. They could be, I mean, let's say, Sandbar might actually be around, say, who knows, maybe he could be 15, 18, and Jonah could be, I don't know, 16, 17, and who knows how old they are. And Smolder, even though she looks to be at least a few years older than Spike and had already been experienced, uh, uh, some experience, had experienced that mold effect some years before. So she may actually be in her late teens or early teenagers or something. We don't even know that for fact. And and as his Robert said, I heard this theory that Cozy Glow is an adult trapped inside a child's body. Oh, actually, that is it's actually not impossible because in real life, it's actually possibility that there is actually one genetic condition that I've seen this once on a TV that a girl, she looked to be 7 to 8 years old, but in fact, when she happened in that program, she wasn't even 7 or 8. She was actually 38 years old. But even though she may be in her late 30s, but her body looked to be almost like in an elementary age girl. That's possible. It's rare, from what I understand. And But the theory that she is an adult trapped inside of a child's body, hmm. I mean, it's possible, I guess. Okay,
Mm,
that I
I mean,
haven't
she does
heard.
also have the mentality of a filly, though. So
Mm, I mean, I mean, it's possible, I guess. I haven't heard a theory. But to be honest, when you're talking about certain characters, like some of their, um, I mean, there's always certain theories about certain characters. Like say, for years, there was for years, like say the Applejack's parents, like even before we even met them or we even saw them in the show, like what were their names? How did they look like? And when did they die? How did they die? Well, that's just the thing. Another thing about, say, Scootaloo, much of her past, even though on the Wikia, on the MLP Wikia, it said that she had parents. But the fact is, neither her parents was never mentioned. So, many fans assumed that she was actually an orphan, and
or abused.
well, maybe, but that mostly assumed that she was an orphan and that she lived in an orphanage or even lived on the street. But the
I did
fact is
see
that,
those theories.
yeah, but it turned out, but there was one other common theory that Scootaloo's biological mother was actually Fluttershy.
Oui,
But she,
j'arrive. Damn it! I gotta go take my meds.
so that the Fluttershy actually gave up Scootaloo at a very young age. But that also was a pretty good theory, to be honest. But it just was a theory. But there is still one theory about Scootaloo, and that's about her ability to fly. And even when she did get older, her wings didn't change. So many assumed, did her wings never developed properly? It's actually not that very much unlikely, and the chances of her to able to fly is non-existent. She can't fly. It seems that she was born with disability and like a handicap, which yeah, it's even though the fact that she can't fly, but it doesn't stop her not being mentally or emotionally. She is determined to prove that even if she can't fly, she is very capable of doing to take that to to use something else an advantage. So I don't understand what some people saying that Scootaloo may actually fly when she's just getting older. That she just had a late growth spurt, just having a late growth sprout or growing uh, growth sprout. I mean, it's possible. I mean, considering that it's possible that Scootaloo may just had it been late in development of puberty. I mean, it's also that's actually not even impossible either. It's the chances that also that Scootaloo could just be developed much later on in puberty. I mean, the puberty itself, even if you when you reach puberty, everyone develops in different rates. Boys, for example, reach mature puberty way later than girls do. But it's also how we develop in puberty differently. Like so, Skittaloo, like say her friends, they may actually been more prettier, more beautiful, but Skittaloo maybe could have been a bit late. I mean, who knows? Even if she did grow taller, but her wings wasn't even affected. So people don't have to say that, oh no, Skittaloo would never be able to fly. That's terrible. Yeah, but even if she don't fly, she don't even let that bring her down. She's still happy to be able not be, even though she may not be able to fly. but she's still happy to be there for her friends. Even if she may not fly herself, but she can perhaps teach others, new young uh, Pegasus, in order to fly, like some of the basic things. I mean, it's possible. I remember this one episode when CMC when Scootaloo wanted to go to Cloudsdale to see Rainbow's parents. Oh boy, that was a pretty hectic episode. I mean, even when Scootaloo wanted to go see Rainbow's parents in Cloudsdale, but they used a huge slingshot, and even when her friends pointed out they could have been used an air balloon, hot air balloon, to just get up there rather than be using a slingshot. But even when Scootaloo realized that was perhaps more safer because using the slingshot, it wasn't a guarantee that even would even work. I mean, even if it did work to fly it off, but there's also the possibility that it was the possibility, like a 50-50 chance that she could have reached Cloudsdale or even have missed Cloudsdale, but only a few feet away from it. And if that happened, if she, I mean, let's say from this, if she had missed Cloudsdale, and since she don't have the ability to fly herself, what would happen otherwise? Kubo, what do you
Yes.
think? You know that episode when Scootaloo went to see Rainbow's parents in Cloudsdale?
Yeah.
And let's say when they used that giant slingshot, and even when her friends pointed out they couldn't be using a hot air balloon to get there, but it was too late. And even if this using that slingshot was like a 50-50 chance in order to work, you know? So what if that she didn't hit Cloudsdale and missed it with a several feet, and the fact that she don't have the ability to fly her own, and if she didn't have, say, I don't know, a parachute in just the backup if something would happen, and and let's say if she's falling from a high altitude, from a high up in the air and down on the ground, not knowing where she will be happen to hit. It could be straight on the ground or in a tree. So without any parachute and without the ability to fly, what would happen? I mean,
Yeah, I think
those
it's fair to say that she doesn't really have any safety precautions or anything like that.
no, I
I
don't
mean,
think
well,
so.
that's her fucking parents' fault because they were terrible at their job.
Well, I mean, I don't think that even they thought of that. So I don't think they even thought. I don't think that CMC even thought too far in advance what the probabilities or the chances for this slingshot idea could fail.
Yeah,
Even if they did have it strong enough and had a straight directed towards the Cloudsdale, but the probability for it to hit Cloudsdale was a 50-50 chance because it mainly depends if they stretched that slingshot strong far enough. If it was not, even if it had stretched strong far enough, it's a possibility that she couldn't miss the Cloudsdale not only like say 10 feet, maybe as a I don't know 50 or perhaps 100 feet away, and or perhaps it could have made her fly shorter a distance on the ground. That's just how things are. But if okay, if if Scootaloo could fly and they still use a slingshot, could you imagine? Like, do you imagine like this? If they was okay, if she wasn't trying to, if they didn't use it to make get her to Cloudsdale, but if she could fly, and if that happened, they use a slingshot, but Angie that could and that Scootaloo could fly, but pushed her by using that in order to get to one particular event only one known character had done in the series, which is only something that Rainbow had pulled off.
Yeah.
Sonic Ring Boom. I mean, what if the CMC did use a slingshot and the fact that Scootaloo had the ability to fly, and they used a slingshot to make her fly fast enough to even reach Sonic Ring Boom. Do you think
Well,
that
I
would have?
do think that if Scootle could fly, she could theoretically make her own sonic boom.
Yeah, but I mean, what if they? I mean, let's say from this: if Scootaloo could fly, she had tried many times in order to reach that speed in order to get the sonic ring boom, but failed so many times, and that her friends came up with this idea. What to give her something that could give her an extra boost, like
Yeah.
using like a jetpack. But since jetpacks may not actually have been invented until like in G5, and any engines doesn't exist, like jet planes, uh, and such things that can give her like a mechanical boost doesn't exist. So, and like a rocket still doesn't exist. So a slingshot, if it's well stretched enough and gave her such strong fast speed, but even though it only gives her temporarily speed, do you think, honestly, by using a slingshot as a boost to Scootaloo to make it that she could make a Sonic Ring Boom? What do you think?
Hmm.
I mean, do you think honestly that could work?
Um, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's just I think it's a 50-50 chance, I guess. But there is another thing is say like that the washouts when they came to Ponyville, like lightning
Oh
dust.
yes, I remember that episode mainly because of
Yeah,
how savage Kulu was in it.
yeah, and especially that the lightning dust wanted to put Scootaloo in that performance of a stunt. First,
Yeah, I remember that too.
that was the big problem, right? That was a big issue, and it shouldn't even be allowed because they don't even have any safety nets. They even use any form of safety precautions. Every single stunt had to be performed by some professionals like that who actually may have been used on performance and knew or at least knows how to do this. And some other thing like oh, Cody Lane is here. What's up, Cody? Um, but another thing is, like I said, and since the Cutie Crusaders, and even though that Scootaloo really wanted to do that, she wanted to pull that stunt off. But when even if she had learned that there is no safety nets or anything, do you think that she would even have listened to even her friends? I don't think so. And that as that the fact that Lightning Dust tried to put Scootaloo through that such danger, and the fact even after that, what happened to the washouts? I don't think that they even stayed as a team afterwards because they were never mentioned, not even once afterwards. And presumably, at least what I think, that when they realized, at least when Lightning does realize, to putting a child in for that type of stunt, but it had no experience of any performance, and in fact, a child was a young Pegasus that didn't even know how to fly. I mean, the probability that if she would have pulled it off was like a slim chance, but was a high probable chance that she would have been could have landed far away from could have injured herself. And the outcome itself, it's unpredictable. She may actually be depend on how she lands and how fast and how hard, and also where she hits the ground or even a tree. Because, or even, who knows, even a boulder. If she falls, if she flies straight against a boulder, yeah, she is dead, completely dead. Otherwise, she has a severe concussion and even pretty much could even break her neck and spine, make her completely paralyzed or something.
Yeah.
And if it happened against a tree, like the stem of the trunk of a tree, boom. If that happened, same results. It can still have that or two permanent injuries, like either 50 chance, like a half paralyzed or even complete paralyzed. And if she hits the ground itself, that depends also how in position she lands. But if it's the head first, yeah, that is immediately dead. But if she lands on the sides, on her back, and rolling, maybe she could survive, but some severe injuries. But if she lands in a lake, like in a diving position, it could still save her, but it can also depend if she lands in a lake, but like back first, can also cause some injuries. And the fact is, even if this happened, and even that Skulu did went on with this stunt and and was stopped, I think I think personally that the washouts were disbanded, meaning they broke up, that they split up and went their separate ways. I don't think it's this because they realized putting a child in such danger would only could have one problem, and that is one word: lawsuit. They could have been
Yeah.
sued, and pretty much that is pretty bad. And if okay, if Scootaloo's parents would have found out about this, even since they were far away, they may actually be. They could probably take moved. They could have probably taken Scootaloo with them far away from Ponyville to keep her safe. Like in the one episode, I believe it was. I don't. Okay, I think it was in one episode, MLP episode where one particular characters actually put. No, wait, it was Applejack. Applejack completely child-proofed the entire farmhouse, putting like a helmet, bubble wraps around Apple Bloom to keep her safe. I mean, it's. I mean, there was shouts in whatever in the MLP. I think they would have been the dead. They broke apart and been facing the potential lawsuit against them. I don't think they would even be part as a team to realize they put an innocent child in for such great danger. Honestly, I don't even think that neither that no one, if this news is released to the public, I mean to the general public in the whole kingdom, and if that since the Washouts was a newly established group of stunt devils, like the Daredevils, travel around performing and even allowed the audience to also take part of this, including children. So if this establishment had this group had just established, and if this news is traveling so fast around in the kingdom that the washouts, if they arrive to a new location and the news about this installment, uh, and the news about what happened in Ponyville has spread so far and even to the next town, and the police there had heard of what that the washouts was nearly put an innocent child in for such danger when the news had that the child was a Pegasus that couldn't even fly, and when they heard exactly what kind of stunt that they were performing, I don't think that the washouts, when they arrive to their next town, they probably won't even get any tickets sold. And they probably would have been told to leave town immediately. They are not allowed to perform any for performance. So if they go to another next town, same response. They could have been this. They could have been literally told they're banned to use any performance in their towns. Even if they're the small towns, like say that the one Starlight lived in before moving to Ponyville, even that small town can also be, even that small town is so remote, it can also still had heard the news about what happened and still forbade the washouts any performance. And since there's the washouts includes lightning dust, that the fact that she was living off as this as their only sole income of survival of money. So that which means no performance means no income. No income, that means no money. So I think it's possibility that the washouts were permanently banned from doing any performance and that the whole team broke apart. Don't you think
Though
that?
something that kind of makes me kind of uncertain is that no one from either Applejack or Rainbow Dash or Rarity ever sued Diamond Tiara's family for the bullying. I mean, they could have.
I mean, true, but even so, I mean, can you even imagine, like, say, if this happened? Yeah, and bullying itself, as Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon did to the CMC from the season one and onwards until Diamond Tiara reformed. Um, I mean, they didn't do any physical harm, and they only
Well,
said
they did mock Skrull's disability, though.
true, but it itself that could maybe count as like a hate crime or something. I don't know. It's a silver lining on that one, 50-50. But some other things, but they
Oh,
only said
also, Diamond Tiara's mother could definitely get sued for child abuse.
true. But even though the Diamond Jar and Silver Spoon said some black flags to the CMC, but basically that term wasn't not only used for the CMC, but it could have been used out by others as well. In fact,
Yeah,
not even the CMC was a target for the bullying from Diamond Jar and Silver Spoon. Even some others was also could have been included as a part of bullying. And even
yeah,
though, sure, even when Apple Bloom's cousin Bad Seed were in town for a while, even though she took part of their bullying, but in the end, she stopped and realized that was her doing was mistake. And I mean, do you okay? If I ask this, throughout the season one until the season when Apple Bloom Diametra reformed, do you honestly think that Apple Bloom or even Skulu or Sweetie Belle could sue them for any of this? Personally, I say no. What do you guys think?
well, there are some stuff that they could, but I guess the blank flank is not technically I mean, I at first I kind of thought that blank flank was kind of a slur.
Maybe. But what do you think, Cody? Yeah, that's crazy, but but honestly, I mean, be okay from this. Even if they would have tried to sue, which I 50-50 don't know if they even would do, and if it even would been taken serious on. I mean, for a fact, we don't even know anything about the legal system in Equestria even works like. I mean,
That
for a
is
fact,
true. I mean, I wish
we
they
don't.
would have give us at least some explanation on the rules and laws.
Yeah, I mean, the fact, even though we know at least two punishments that we know happened when Luna was banished to the moon for that 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for one moment. We know that she was banished, but what is that required in order to do so? And can that punishment even be kept happening
Mm,
since
I guess
because
it's reserved if you attack the royalty or something like that.
well that's the problem. Celestia used the element of harmony in order to send Luna to the moon. But since the elements are completely destroyed, how would they even do to use them? So even if the elements aren't even intact anymore, is it possible that anyone can be sent to the moon? And but excuse me. But the thing is, even if the elements were still intact, could any pony, like even a unicorn, use the elements to banish basically anyone to the moon? And also, if you think about it, Luna was there for 1,000 years. Is that like an automatically that when the sun used the elements to banish them to the moon, it had to be there for 1,000 years? It's like, is there like a limit? Say, could it be sent to the moon for say a year, 5 years, 10 years, or even 100 years? But is it like say if I say if um, if Celestia were to ban Cody to the moon, and would I like say if he was like say, okay, I'm going to ban you to the moon, and he thinks, okay, like what, a year, 5 years, but it turns out no, it's only automatically 1,000 years. So I don't even know. It's like, can that sentence even be less than like that? Like, could it be? Can Celestia choose how long that the person or the pony had to be on the moon? Say if they had to be there for a year, 6 months, or perhaps even as 10 years as a punishment, or is it even automatically as 1,000 years? But since that element of the harmony was required in order to send some pony to the moon for that, but since the elements are destroyed, is it that since and with the elements being destroyed, that punishment to send someone to the moon, I don't think that's even possible anymore. But another thing is another punishment we know of in Equestria is be sent for lifetime imprisonment in Tartarus, which happened to Tirek twice. So,
Yeah.
but in order to, but so here's the, like the thing.
So I
What
do wonder what crime would be fitting for someone to get sent to Tartarus since it is technically
exactly?
hell.
Well, that's true. Like, how was that even required? If it seems okay, we know for a fact in the episode when Cozy was revealed to be the mastermind, and that scene, the cue mark, main six went to Tartarus, and in fact, we can see several animals in the Tartarus: bugbear, a cockatrice, a chimera, and of course, Tirek. So in a way, okay, the bugbear it makes sense because it's the bugbear was in fact an animal or a creature that Sweetie Drops or Bon Bon, her secret organization, captured years ago. So, but the Chimera, the last time we saw the Chimera before that episode, when, for example, when Appleboo wanted to prove her sister that she could take a pie delivery to a small village in the swamps on her own, even that. But if you think about it, some of the most other dangerous creatures, what about the Hydra? The Hydra had happened appear several times in the series course of it was running, but that one was not even present at the Tartarus. And the bird Rock, the giant bird, was not even present either. But there were actually some animals or some creatures in the Taurus that was only seen only once. And and the fact is, I don't even know what kind of creature they even were.
Yeah.
But in order to be sentenced to the Taurus, it had to be such really nasty crime. But like the bugbear, the chimera,
Life.
uh, the cockatrice is understandable. But for anyone, say, okay, Tirek is pretty much understanding after all. He stole the magic from ponies all over.
I gotta go brush my teeth and then I gotta go to bed. So sorry.
It's fine, okay, well, so, but yeah, so what about, say, Cozy is more understanding since, after all, she was the one who, well, sold the magic from the Equestria. So, but here's another question. Who else could have been sentenced to Taurus? Well, there's actually two main characters that I think that could have been sentenced. And that is simple. Yeah, Chrysalis is one of them. And who can I forget? Sombra. But there is actually even another creature that I think could also be sentenced. And that's Discord. But that was when he was still as pretty much as a criminal. When he was still much bad guy. But if you think about it, that is another thing. We know for a fact that turning one thing to stone, well, I mean, it's, I mean, since he was using, since the every single creature was put in those cages. I mean, one of those cages in the Taurus was specially designed to keep ponies or other creatures inside, even if they could perform magic. But and about this, Cody, even if he was able to escape from his cage, he wouldn't been able to leave the prison anyways, since the doorway was locked and it can only be opened from the outside mainly. It can be opened from the inside if a character when Twilight took all the magic from all the combined animals, including Tirek, gave enough magic, even though she could only open the door for only a brief moment. Since the door was mainly open from the outside, not from the inside. And since Twilight also said that the Taurus was designed to keep some of the most dangerous creatures and criminals in Equestria in there. And it's like it's only one way in, and they can even let out. There's no way for that to happen. So I don't think even if he were able to escape from his cage, I don't think he would even be able to leave the Taurus in the first place. But but there is a chance that he could slip out. Why and how? Well, it's simple. If that someone, like say if the royal guard is escorting a new criminal, a new prisoner to the Taurus, and when they open the door, and when since Sombra has ability to turn it like into shadow, and when it happens, since there are some light inside, and when the door opens, that might actually give up some big long shadows inside, and he can hide in the shadow, and without no one know it, he can sweep outside fast enough before anyone could even notice it. That's what I think. But even so, but there is like another one, like when they turn, uh, even when Luna and Celestia turned Discord to stone in the past, they used the element of harmony. And the fact is, even when the elements were destroyed, Is it possible to turn anyone into stone without the elements? Well, it was proven right. They can still turn anyone into stone statue without the elements. Because Celestia, Luna, and include Discord use their magic to do that on the trio. So I think it's possible without even the elements they can still turn into a stone. So, but I mean, we only know for certain type of crimes or some punishment in the legal system. Sent to the moon for 1,000 years. Tartarus were the most hardened villains and turned to stone. But the fact we had never even seen any form of trial, and but the thing is, why was why was even close to Santa Tartarus in the first place? Sure, even though she was a mastermind behind all this stealing the magic, but she was still a minor. Wouldn't she more simply send her to a juvenile hall, a juvenile detention, like a juvenile prison, something, a prison designed for just juveniles, or perhaps even a mental asylum? But but yeah, I mean, it's kind of strange if you don't think about it. Like in the U.S., that I know for a fact that some minors can't be trialed for as an adult if they're if it's been proven that they are capable of and also if they are complete understand if they're mentally stable and are even aware exactly what they did. So in the US, like there's that 50-50 that even the fact that there's a minor, they can still be sentenced to juvenile hall for until they're like 18, but also sentenced as a as an adult. Even the fact that even the person is 15 or even 13 years old. So what about Kosovo? How about that? Like, how is it even possible that she was sentenced to Taurus even though she's a minor? I mean, I understand from some of the other creatures that's like the cockatrice, the bugbear, and some others was still there. They was unable. They can. I mean, they can't talk for themselves, and they are dangerous. But there still is a big mystery. Why was there the only one cockatrice in the Taurus? When, as you may remember, the episode when Silverstream was studying about the cockatrice, and even when she went to the old castle, she was interacting with one particular cockatrice, and there was several many others that also happened to be in that forest present. So that proves there's a whole species of cockatrice. So excuse my French, but why in the hell was there only one cockatrice in the Taurus while the rest of its kind was moving around freely on the surface? What made this cockatrice so special that they was the only one in the Taurus? I mean, cockatrices don't, they only petrify ponies or other creatures if they're threatened or provoked. So why was this only one particular cockatrice in the Taurus in the first place? Hmm? Think about it. And even as they were other creatures, that was even not present there. That's also been seen throughout the years, or throughout the series, like the Hydra, the three-headed dragon's monster in the forest that happened, the Timberwolves. What about the Timberwolves? Sure, they were also strong enough and also one of the dangerous animals in every forest. But they never left that particular forest, not once. But they are considered dangerous. The bear bee, oh, you mean the bugbear? Yeah, the one that's attacking Indy Polymil in the Slice of Life? Yeah, that's a bugbear. Yeah, that one was actually at once captured by Bonbon and her secret organization Smile years earlier. and was sentenced to the Taurus and somehow had escaped. And once again, sentenced back there. But yeah, I don't even know for a fact why that happened, and especially only one single cockatrice. One particular cockatrice that was sentenced into Taurus for what? I mean, they only petrified ponies or other animals if they're provoked, scared, or even attacked. Otherwise, they don't even do that. It's like, why is this particular cockatrice so special if it had to be placed in Tartarus, while the rest of its kind is roaming freely in Equestria? Think about it. It's kind of a bit strange and also a bit odd. I mean, as SoapStream mentioned, that the whole species is migrating like many birds do during the winter, during the autumn and the spring season. So why this particular cockatrice? Why was this cockatrice only one in the Taurus? Was there a particular reason? Maybe. Or was it just simply that they only put it there just to make out add some new creatures in the Taurus during that episode? There were some creatures also in some cages, but we don't know nothing about them either. We don't even know what kind of breed, the species they are. One looked to be could have been some sort of giant lizard of some kind. So we don't even know. And here's the thing: what happened to the Taurus even in G5? When the magic was finally gone for 300 years or so, what happened to Taurus and everyone in there? Because in the Taurus, as Tyrek, he was placed there for 1,000 years prior when he was escaped first time. So, even so, there is that thing is, do they even eat at all? I mean, considering that the Tyrek is a living creature like the rest of the others are, doesn't even he require food? Or is it possible that being placed in the Taurus makes them don't even require any substance to in order to survive? It's like, what if this like the whole person had some sort of magical or had this ability to suppress their hunger and thirst? They can be sitting in the cages for centuries without even drink or eat. Because first, in normal prison, like in our world, the prisoners will be sent to this cafeteria or in order to eat a few times a day. Well, that's true. That's a cupcake, but how do they even do that? I mean, first, in our world, prisoners were sent to a cafeteria to eat, but eat at Taurus. When the main six was there were no guards, no staff at all, not even outside to guard any place, not even inside. So how would even they had so if there were staff that was going in there to give them the creatures food, it had to be in something that had to do daily basis. Otherwise, how would it even possible they would even survive? But oh, I remember one thing. If you remember in the episode when Cozy was turned into that, uh, when she absorbed the chaos magic, and that when Tyrek poured out that anyone who absorbing the magic would be go crazy, that no creature in an Equestrian could even handle the chaos magic. Yeah, when she turned into that alcohol form. But you remember that Tyrek said that no one could handle that magic. It is too crazy. No one could even do that. Unlike for well, unlike from Pinky when she was unfortunately by accident in Discord's dimension by surprise and by mostly random accident. Uh, and that the fact that even when that Cozy, even though she did absorb all the magic from the chaos from Grogard's bell, but when she was trying to attack Chrysalis and Tyrek, she failed multiple times. She was only been able to create um, pineapples that could bite. That's it, and rubber chickens. Even though she was focused on the one she wanted to create, it failed miserably. But if you think about it, T-Rex said in his own words that no one could handle that magic. No one. No one could. But yeah, that would have been nice if the real Grogard was in the show and that Mark Hamill could have made the voice. Yeah, that would be really cool. But if you remember this one particular episode also earlier, when Tirak first escaped, that when he absorbed not only Pony's magic, but also Twilight, Luna's, and Kanan's magic, he even absorbed Discord's magic. Yeah, I mean, he was able to control his magic for some reason. And the fact, even seasons later, that was a big mistake. Because even then, in season 4's finale, he absorbed Discord's chaos magic and somehow would have no problem to using that to create that energy beams with his horns. And in fact, even in season 9, just before the season finale of the season 9, when Tarek stated by himself that no one, no creature can handle the chaos magic, and it goes against a season earlier. I don't this other possibility that that was an anime that was an honest mistake, or that he forgot about it himself. That he did at one point had chaos magic himself after absorbing it from Discord, or is it the fact that the creators or the staff behind that season had forgot that he did once had Discord's magic. So, do you honestly think that it was just that was a mistake, or they just forgot about it? My opinion is that they just simply forgot about it and just I mean, that was like 5 seasons earlier. So honestly, I think that was just a random mistake, or they forgot about it, that detail. It's not sometimes it's simple to remember all that has happened. Considering, I mean, there have been so many uh, mistakes throughout season 1 into season 9. Um, in the episode when She's Sandwich, when he came to Ponyville to celebrate uh, Rainbow's birthday and her anniversary for living in Ponyville. Yeah, in that scene later near the end, where the main six are dancing together on the stage, it's clear that there are two alicorns on the stage, which is Twilight and Rarity. And that was an animation wrong error though, but it has happened a few more times throughout the series. And honestly, I think so. That is what they had that when Tirak made a statement that no creature can handle the chaos magic. May it just be as simple for that the staff forgot about it. And I think that is sounds more reasonable, honestly. I mean, if they remember that in season 4 finale that Tira did absorb the magic and was easily able to use that and create that beams from his horns, But in season 9 finale, well, kind of the day, just the episode near the finale, he stated that no one could even handle chaos magic at all, even if they're a fraction of it. So I think it's more likely that the staff who was creating that episode forgot about it, that the Tyrek at one point did was able to control Discord's magic in season 4 finale. But as he stated near the season 9 finale, that he stated that no creature could even handle it. So that's like 5 seasons between those finales. So I honestly think the staff had just forgotten about that detail, and that happened. Yeah, people are forgetful, but I mean, can you? Okay, first of all, season finale. I mean, since that season 4 was in 2014, and that season 9 was in 2019, so that's 5 years. And considering how much development, how many episodes that was work between the season 4 finale, all the way to between season 9 finale, how much hard work and it was even between. And if another small detail that might also explain it is that may not even just be the same staff or the same personnel would be worked on the season 4 and even until season 9. Some of the people who worked between those seasons could either have stopped working for Hasbro or they could have used someone else. And that might also explain to why certain details like that Tyrek used that absorb magic in season 4 finale and in later season 9 finale, saying that it was impossible for anyone to handle it. So it's possible that some of the staff have forgotten about that detail, or that some of the people who worked between for season 4 and onwards may have stopped working for Hasbro at some point, or they actually hired some new staff in order to work on it. Because if that some people don't remember, but I believe it was season 7 and season 8. I was like season 7 or 8 that was actually leaked to the public. Because in the development for season, that one season, half, season that those later seasons actually only half of a season. If those they were 24 episodes, half of the season was released. And then it was a break for a while. And then the second half of the season was released a couple of weeks or maybe a month or two later. And before that particular season, actually the first time it happened, that half of the season, those episodes that was already being released, or at least some of the episode that was supposed to be released much later on, actually somehow hacked into Hasbro's servers that particular year and stole finished work, completely finished episodes that was just waiting to be released to the public or on TV, perhaps weeks, perhaps even several months later, that was released on YouTube. And that happened twice. And people like, what the? Okay, after the first time, maybe people like, okay, it is that hopefully that Hasbro had improved their cybersecurity so that won't even happen again. But nope, that didn't happen. Instead, it was hacked a second time, and some of the episodes was released. And for some reason, I don't even know how, I actually came across some of this episode for the first time when it happened. I actually came across uh, those episodes from that half of the season that was even released yet. They were actually somehow hacked by Hasbro by someone and released on YouTube and I actually saw those episodes and even made reviews. But I didn't even post those stories, those videos, not until after those episodes was published or even had been released themselves. Because if I did that in beforehand, it may actually be people even ask, how would I even came across, how would I even be able to do a review of an episode that was even hadn't even been published or even aired yet? I'd be like, well, I actually come across this episode that was hacked by someone from Hasbro servers and released on YouTube. But when this happened, when this became public, Hasbro didn't have to hesitate, but they took action. They make sure that this episode was removed from YouTube. But not only YouTube it was released on. There were some other sites also online where those uh, finished episodes was released before they were even published by Hasbro themselves. And when I saw that, I was like, whoa, Hasbro really needs to improve their security. And when that happened, when that first time happened, they supposedly had improved their security, but no, it happened again. Not perhaps even not, I believe it was in season 9 or no, wait, I believe this was, I think it was season 6 or season 7 the first time happened, and season 8 was the second. I think it is the, it's have been a while since I don't even remember exactly which the, but yeah, but considering of how many others all that happened, I mean, Hasbro itself, yeah, but even even after the Hasbro decided to end making Mark to continue from with the Tell Your Tale series, I was like, okay, that's at least that the G5 wasn't even completely ended. But even those episodes were only like 5 minutes long, except for those special episodes that were supposed to be released. The first one were in fact released on the date was supposed to happen, and the second one was supposed to be released. I think it was August 22nd or 21st last year, and even though when I went to YouTube that day, nothing. So I waited maybe another day, nothing. That particular special episode, that Tell Your Tale series, never was even published. So I went to the MLP G5 Wikia just to make sure if it was something if it was some sort of update to the reason why it was never published or even posted. But there were no reason. There were no mentions at all. Maybe a week later, it was said for some unknown reason it never worked. There were even pages for the second, the third, and the fourth special episode that was supposed to be released at certain times. But after the second one was never published or posted on YouTube, suddenly, when I went back one day to just see if there was any update more about those episodes, only the first one of the pages of those special episode was there. While the second, third, and the fourth, those pages had been deleted. And there were no mention to the reason why. I mean, even to this day, I have no idea why Hasbro just pulled off or canceled the whole Telltale prematurely. Even the second special was finally finished. It was completely done. But the thing is, I actually seen it. I saw the whole second special episode, but people were like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 back up! How can you see the second special episode when you just mentioned it was never posted by Hasbro. That's the thing. I don't know how, but someone gained access to that one and published it on YouTube, and it's still there. And it's completely done with colors, speech, everything. But there were also this future episodes that were supposed to be published after the second special episode, including when the main six traveling on the sea on a wooden ship to meet the sea ponies. And there were even a potential for a time travel episode. And there were even mention of a new main villain, a female villain. I don't know if it's and I don't think like an alicorn or anything. Well, I think more like I think a unicorn. And I was like, what the seriously, Aspro? You had frustrated. They had so many unfinished projects, so episodes, and they pulled the plug. I mean, first of all, Aspro, you got announcing months before there's gonna be 4 special episodes of Tell You Tale. Only the first one was ever released. The second was supposed to be and was complete, but never uploaded on YouTube. And that those 3 others, no, never happened. And the fact that Hasbro did work on several other episodes that were supposed to be continued after the second special, including a time travel episode. I was like, dude, this is amazing. Considering that they had been 2 time travel episodes in G4, first one in one of the early seasons, and the one with Starlight traveled back in time, I was like, a third time travel episode with the G5 timeline, it would have been epic. But no, not at all. They decided to just simply end it. And the fact that the main six were supposed to be traveling and meet sea ponies. But that actually never even happened. I was so frustrated to not understand the real reason to why Hasbro just canceled the whole project, the whole series in the near the end of that for the second season. I mean, it's both frustrating and painful to even imagine. When I first came across this particular channel that has contents of unfinished episodes, including with the time travel episode, but I was like, oh, Hasbro, what the hell? I was, uh, I was so frustrated. I mean, we would we would have finally had the first time travel episode in G5 in Tell You Tale, but Hasbro decided, nope, that ain't happened. That ain't happened. I was like, Hasbro, can you please for once give us a break? At least, Hasbro, for goodness sake, why can't you give us the main reason to why it never happened? Or at least why you just ended the whole franchise like that, or the whole G5? Considering that the G4 ended in 2019 and that the G5 was supposed to be replacing it, you actually announced just shortly before the season 9 finale that's going to be a G5, a whole new generation. And it sure did. I mean, even when G5 was released, or at least officially announced, there's going to be new characters, a new. There were a lot of this there was a lot of speculations, the debating of this going to be a whole new universe, or it's going to be still a part of Equestria or something. Yeah, there was still so many speculations, like, and even many thought it's going to be still involved in main six of a G4, but just add a whole new universe. But nope, that ain't happened. But they still maintained in Equestria, but just a few hundred years later, which is okay. It's still within Equestria, within the same franchise, and with the same, well, same place, but different time, but new characters, which makes sense. But no, when the Make It Mark series ended, they continued with Telltale. Okay, that's fine. At least that the G5 was not officially entirely over. But then, out of blue, just before the second special episode was supposed to be posted, that didn't happen. They just pulled the plug. They just pulled the plug out of the middle of nowhere. They just ended the whole freaking thing. And I don't even know if they actually even give an official explanation to why Tell Your Tale or in within the whole G5 ended. It's it's unspeakable for Hasbro just simply ended. I understand if there was had been certain reason for that, like lack of views, lack of people watching the series. I don't think so. I don't think that would be the main reason to that. Okay, just to be saying this, there are in fact some of the main reason to a show could have been ended is because that eventually the view ratings dropped. The audience who've been watching the show, the numbers dropped significantly. And if it drops even more, if it dropped so much, this TV studio decided it's not really worth to keep going on with the series. That there's only like a handful of people watching it, and so that may not. But I don't think that is the main reason to why suddenly G5 was just ended. I mean, Tell Your Tale was on YouTube. And how many people, how many fans within the Brony fandom who loves G4 and even accepted G5 as the replacement of that G4 had? Of course, I understand that from G4 was a very popular, a big hit, and had so many episodes, had millions of views, and has such long run for nearly a decade and suddenly replaced by G5 with the many fans was had mixed feelings, but after the first movie was released, many fans started to open up. When the Make You Mark series happened, when the first two chapters, people started to open up more and accept it and start loving G5. But when the Make You Mark ended, but continued with Telltale with understanding. At least the G5 was still running, but nope, no. I wanted blue. They just ended it. And no further explanation to why they just ended it. And don't even go to Wikipedia to look it up. I did. No answer. No explanation to why. Nothing makes sense to that. That's true, Cody. I mean, normally with someone end a series has to be a certain reason for that. If the view audience dropped, if the series lost in if the series lost audience of viewers, that's one of the main reasons to understand that the whole show was canceled or something. Or it could have been just simply that people didn't like the J file anymore and just dropped watching it. I mean, it did happen. So okay, that makes no sense, I guess. But still, it was no even a further explanation to why that G5 was dropped. Some shows back in the 80s and early 90s, sure, some shows actually did that. There was actually even one particular show that I did see um, called Bucky O'Hare and the Tone Wars. That was about based on a comic series. That series lasted for 13 episodes until it was canceled. But yeah, still, G4 has such great success and lasted even the longest of every previous G series, MLP series on that's previous generations. Some of them lasted for maybe two, perhaps 4 seasons. But G4 for 9 seasons. And in fact, even that G5, 6 chapters of Making Mark, and 2 seasons of Tell Your Tale. Even though there was supposed to be a 7 chapter of Making Mark, but it was cancelled in the changing during production. But still, it doesn't even make sense. I mean, we can go on and on about the speculation to why the main reason to that suddenly the Making Telltale was out of the blue, just ended. We may never actually get a rightful answer to why it happened. Even if you do use Google or if you use chat programs to ask why, G5 on MLP just ended without a warning. I mean, they had several episodes in the development and they just suddenly ended it without even anyone much of warning. Fans are still probably wondering what the hell happened. What is the main reason to why that suddenly that G5 ended without a blue? What are you looking at? Yeah, my cat is sitting next to me, looking at me like, food, food, give me food. Mm-mm. Nope, 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 you're not getting any food. Um, but yeah, I understand why there's suddenly people thinking about this. That might also the main might the reason to suddenly why that G5 was ended might be budget. But the thing is, G5 was Making Mark was such popular, and since Making Mark was published or was uploaded on Netflix, and how many people using Netflix? Because even when Hasbro did announce this was not going to be on TV, but rather from a streaming service, and it seems out how many people around the world using Netflix. They're not thousands. It could be millions of people had access to Netflix. And if there are millions of fans out there who loves MLP, including G4 but also G5, they were still having access to be watching the G5 Make Mark series, and YouTube, which also has millions, has billions of users, billions of people that are watching the YouTube and actually be even watching that series make Tell Your Tale. So that in itself shouldn't even be much an explanation to suddenly a budget issue. Because if that was the case, they could have just announced that the Telltale series is going to be delayed for a while for this on due to some budget problems, or it could also be that the staff was on a strike. But that doesn't even make sense because if there was a strike, they should have at least give an update to the fans, to the fandom, to mention that the Telltale series is going to be delayed due to a strike. Normally, that happens when there's a strike or something. They mention that. They are always mentioned there's an ongoing strike and that might be delaying the development for the series or something. Or or there could have been a shortage of staff. But that doesn't make sense either because if it's a shortage, they could just hired temporarily new staff behind so that the project was still been going on. But that's another thing. But if there's a shortage of staff, well, that means also that the company may actually be, I don't know, has lack of budget, maybe. But there is another thing is like some like Wait, is it possible that Hasbro is on the verge of bankruptcy? If that would have been the case, what do you want? No, no food right now. No, no, stay there. Uh, but if it was like Hasbro were on the verge of bankruptcy, that should have been on the public and national news as well in the US. After all, Hasbro is an American company, and they have been around for decades, since at least the 80s. Uh, cat, I can't see my screen. Oh, thank you. Okay, that works. Yep, my cat just jumped on the screen on the desk and lying from the screen. Okay, it's just laying there. The little bed works. But yeah, since Hasbro had been a company in America for decades, since the MLP series itself, the franchise, have been around since the 80s. So if there were the fact that Hasbro were in effect in a version of the bankruptcy, shouldn't that have made the national headlines of the headlines of national TV or national news? Yeah, I mean that is just a big deal. Not only the Hasbro not only make the TV shows, but also is the main manufacturer of toys like Transformers, MLP, and others. So it makes sense. If Hasbro were on the verge of bankruptcy, it should have been headlines on the national TV or national news, like the CNN, Fox News, you name it. But that was not. It was not mentioned on any of the news anywhere of Hasbro was on the bankruptcy, or it could also be like say, what if they decide to reorganize some of the staff, like say they had to let some people off, some let people go due to the fact that maybe the budget was getting low, so they had to let some people go off, like they had to fire a huge amount of people from Hasbro. That could also be the reason to why short staffed or but I don't even know. I mean, speculations is pretty much far on the list onto why that Telltale series ended. But it doesn't really make sense though. Cat, I can't see the screen. Thank you. Can you please move? No, move. Give me a second. Down you go. Stay there. Cat is sometimes a bit too far much for me to handle. But yeah, I mean, the speculation to why this only um I mean, the speculation to why suddenly that Hasbro just ended to make just made a Telltale or even G5 is like that. The main reason there can be many reasons. I mean, the staff could be on a strike for a while. That should also be on the news, like say Hasbro staff on the strike due to unpaid, not being given the right pay raise or anything, or it could have been that the fact that they were short staffed, they needed to hire some more people, or that the company itself was on the verge of bankruptcy, which had, if that would have been the case, it should have been on like national news by then, but that never happened. Like neither you or any of my friends had even told me that Hasbro were on the verge of bankruptcy if that were happened. But there is another possibility too when that happened that I mean, say let's understand that the Hasbro would be reorganizing things. It could be possible that the Hasbro could have been merged with another company, or that someone or even another company could have bought Hasbro company at itself, which also means that could also be meant that the new company that took over the ownership of Hasbro as entirely could pull the plug to some of the projects, development of shows and other things like Telltales or G5. That could have been some explanations, but we don't even know that. I mean, I'm not saying to people to thinking, oh wait, is that the main reason? No. I'm like, no, 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 no. We don't know that for a fact. It is one of many possibilities that could happen. But if that also, if Hasbro would have been bought up from by another company, that also should have been on the headlines of the national news. Like Hasbro, a long time company bought up by another company, and that should have been on the news. But that didn't happen. So why did Hasbro decide to end G5? Is there a reason? Yes. Were we ever given the reason? No. And should we be expecting a reason to why suddenly that happened? Perhaps. Perhaps not. Because there have been over a year. It has been over a year since Telltale series ended. Because if Telltale's supposed to be continued, we would have been like in season 3 or season 4 by now, or perhaps season 4 or season 5 if it had continued. But it didn't. It did at all. So I may wonder, will we ever give him much an answer? That's that's a good question. And I unfortunately can't give the answer since I don't know. Even if I do some deep searching or looking around, like Google it, using it some AI chat programs or AI programs, asking, looking around, just if I did some digging, if I did manage to find an answer, that's a problem. Even if I manage to find one answer to the reason to why Hasbro ended the whole G5, I may actually have, I wouldn't even be, I mean, I may not even actually be able to confirm or verify if that is true news or that is a true answer or if that was someone just made it up or it's I mean if I can find one reason to that happened and without it being verified that the reason if that is confirmed, if that is unconfirmed, I wouldn't even be able to tell. I mean, I could tell my friends about it, saying I found something that may give to the main reason, but I said without having it confirmed, I can't tell exactly if this is real or if this is just unconfirmed or confirmed source. If this is on a website like a forum, I wouldn't even know for a fact if that's true without having a link to, like, say, national news or an actual, say, Hasbro's official website mentioning the reason to that. Unless I reach out to, if someone would have reached out to Hasbro directly by asking it to just why they ended. But I don't know. Do I feel sad that they hadn't even given much an answer to why G5 ended? Well, yeah. And do I even want the answer? Sure. Do I want to look that up? Sure. But do I want to even reach out to Hasbro directly? Probably not. I mean, it's just. I mean, I probably like many of thousands, perhaps millions of fans out there, not even just in US alone, but as globally, that has been such strong feelings for G5 and even G4. I think it's even if we would sign this big petition to bring back G5, well, it's finish off that what the Hasbro had in mind. Even if we someone were managed to asking for this petition, to sign to bring back a list telling Hasbro to at least complete some of the stories, those episodes that they had planned to do, finish them off before they can officially end G5. Because Allura, the flying snow leopard, her story was never finished. And so, if that would happen, but even if that someone managed to gather, let's say, over 500,000 name signatures on the list for that petition and handed it over, or perhaps even 1 million names of the petition to the Hasbro asking if they could at least take a look at this name list and asking if they could at least consider to finish off G5 Telltale or those episodes they plan to do and made it an ending with give G5 an epic good ending without just simple inability that would happen. If that petition would happen, if anyone's like, heck yeah, I'm signing it up. But as far as I can tell, there hasn't even been any like that type of uh, petition or that yet. So, but I think it's probably best to just hope to be if we can find the reason to why that suddenly G5 was ended like that. I mean, there's so many speculation to something why it just happened. What I'm trying to say is, do we may ever find the main reason to something why the show ended? I may have to say that's a possibility, but also the same, I don't even know for sure. I mean, it's a possibility that all of this, I mean, it's a possibility that some of this may actually never give much an answer. In fact, it's not a guarantee we may never actually get the full reason to why that Hasbro ended G5. But even if that G5 is now officially over, it has been over a year since that G5 did end it. And we may never actually get the answer to why. But another question is, now that the fact that G5 is officially ended, will we be given G6? I tried to look that up on Google just to see if there's any sources or any mention of G6. But no, there was no mention of any of that. Only fan-made G6. Even though on MLP G5 Wikia, there's a mention there was a Mexican company that was planning to do a Ponyverse. That was like supposed to be the next step for a new version that would include both G5 and G4 characters in it. But before anyone asks, what kind of G4 characters would be in the Ponyverse? If they're supposed to have both G5 and G4 characters. I don't even know for exactly which ones, but sadly, that Ponyverse that the Mexican company was planning to do never happened. Instead, the fact that even though the only one answer, that even when G5 did end it, Hasbro had something else in mind. But what is it? They hadn't even still given an answer to that, considering that G5 ended over a year ago. So is it possible that this new idea is going to be G6 or perhaps even something else? What if? And then, okay, this is like a big if. What if Hasbro pulled the plug in G5 and ended the whole My Pony franchise forever? Meaning that G5 was the final generation of the My Pony franchise, and that it's not going to even be a G6, G7, G8, and onwards, and so on. If that happened, That would have been a shock. After all, MLP had been part of the franchise of Hasbro since the 80s. But not the same thing. Transformers has been part of the G6, part of the Hasbro also since the 1980s. And that chef franchise is still going on. They have made so tons of many different movies, tons of different generations. But it still doesn't explain the G5 of the data. At least at G4 was ended. They give an official ending. They give much an official explanation to why that G4 ended. And they didn't have that for the G5. So why is that even happen? I don't even have the answer for that. And I may not actually not even get the answer. Only speculations, debating. Honestly, I not even honestly don't even know what else to think about. Like, I mean, me and Cody, we get debating or just speculating about the main reason to G5 ended. We can talk about it for days, months, perhaps even years before you get much of a truthful answer. And honestly, do we ever might ever get an answer to why that G5 ended? Probably even not at all. I mean, it's pretty hurtful. I mean, even when G5 was announced, that's going to replace in G4. Sure, there was a lot of mixed feelings in the whole community. It's understandable. I mean, people have been watching G4 since the start of the 2010, or even sometimes perhaps even a few seasons in, like myself. I started watching the show since back in 2013, 2014, but I didn't know. I think it was like 2014 when I started watching this series, but it wasn't like 2015 when I started doing my stories. And before then, I wasn't even a big Brony fan at all. Even though I did growing up watching the G3 back in my childhood, but that was just it. So even when G4 started, it gained so much popularity. No one, including Hasbro, couldn't even expecting that G4 would even last so many seasons compared to the counterparts of the previous season, the previous generations. Some lasted for me, but just between 1 or 4 seasons. But G4 outlived all its predecessors, all that, including G5. I don't even think that Hasbro even expected G4 to even last for nearly 10 years, but it sure did. And during its nearly 10 years run, it gained such popularity, so such loyal fans. Many people loved it. Sure, even though that the show was based on only was focused for young girls, but it still gained popularity among older generations, like going to be parents, older siblings, including myself. Even though I in my mid 30s, I still love cartoons. Cartoons has always been huge part of my childhood, like the original Smurfs, Inspector Gadget, Sailor Moon, Spider-Man, the X-Men, you name it. There's been so many shows, and Batman, Superman, and so many others. And do I still watch the cartoons even today? Well, yeah, I do. Ninja Turtles, exactly. Or as my absolute all-time favorite, Disney's Adventures of Gamma Bears that was made in 1985 to 1991. So basically, that show was before my time and even after during my lifetime. But even though I never saw the show when it ended, I was just like 1 year old, or roughly about almost a year old when it happened. I did watch SpongeBob uh, along with my brother for several seasons, but in the later season, the show is not much as good as it used to be. And even though that Hasbro, or sorry, SpongeBob had a few spin-offs, like when they go into the camp, even Patrick had his own show. I saw a little bit of that one, but that was honestly not even good at all. Ed and Eddie, oh man, that brings really good times. Oh, those three guys. Oh, about that, what is even under Double D's head hat? No one knows. And even when his friends saw him without his hat, they looked almost freaked out. Someone explained it thought, is it his brain or his bald, or perhaps it has a perhaps it is has a hair color that's not even his film bears, or perhaps it could even be a birthmark. If you remember, see, uh, Dipper, Dipper from Gravity Falls, he had a star constellation in his forehead. Perhaps it could be something like that for Double E, Double Ed, but who knows? It was not going to explain to that. And honestly, I don't even know. I honestly don't even know for a fact if it's even possible to know. I mean, there were so many shows that I saw, and it was really good. But one of G5, yeah, it was honestly a bit sad that they just ended like that, and we can only speculating to why. And but honestly, the chances for if anyone do manage to collect, let's say, a half a million to perhaps even a million names and hand it over to Hasbro, hoping that they could even reconsider to bring back Tell Your Tale and at least finish off it all. The chances for that is, I honestly, I don't think there's even that someone managed to collect a million names for even to Hasbro to complete G5 as of those episodes that were supposed to be happening. I don't even, I mean, even despite even a million or perhaps even 10 million names or perhaps even 100 million, it still wouldn't even be enough. I don't think that would even work. I mean, after all, there has been over a year since G5 ended. And by now, Hasbro had focused on different shows. And I honestly don't even think it's possibility for any of that to be happening anytime soon. I mean, if anyone managed to even ask Hasbro, say within the next five to pass, if they have been waiting for 10 years or so, let's say wait 5 years and asking Hasbro to bring it back. Even if they wait 5 years, the chances are getting slim to none to even happen. So if anyone wanted to have Hasbro to bring back G5, or at least finish what they had planned to do with it, they would have to do it soon enough. Because the longer they wait, the longer anyone waits to wait for that, the chances for Hasbro to bring back G5 is getting lower and lower by each day. But even so, I mean, even if, but that's another thing. Even if someone managed to start this petition to bring back, or at least telling G5 that Hasbro to finish G5 that they had intended for, it's not a guarantee that even, I mean, it's not like a guarantee that the even that idea to bring people to sign the petition, it's not like a guarantee that's not either just going to work. I mean, even if there are still hundreds or perhaps thousands or perhaps even millions of fans within just in the US alone that's still loyal fans of G4 and G5. There's not like there's a 50-50 guaranteed chance that they would even sign for this petition. There's a possibility for the 50-50 is that either one half of that is they probably don't even know about it exists, and other half that they don't just probably don't want to do it anyways. They think that G5 have played this role anyways. But there's also the other one, another chance that there are people still signing. But if let's say there are like say only between 10 to 20,000 people sign it, I don't think that's enough. Usually for a petition for something that a company or a TV producer, a TV production company like Hasbro even would consider, it had to be a huge amount of people that be signed for a petition to bring back G5. So 10 to 20,000 people, I don't think that would even be enough. Sometimes perhaps between 200 to even 500,000 people could perhaps be enough, perhaps even a million. But there's also chances for that. Like, no matter if that the petition were signed, say, 10 or 100 million people, it's still sometimes even that even has signed 10 million or perhaps even 100 million. Won't even still even be it's not for Hasbro to even consider to bring back Hasbro or G5. That's another thing. Even though the fact that there are so many people that sign a petition, there's not always a guarantee that even going to work. Sometimes where people weren't, there were even some people that brought a petition to bring back Firefly, another sci-fi show that's ended years ago. Someone actually wanted to bring it back for another more seasons, but that didn't happen. Let's see, for example, when Phineas and Ferb, when that fourth season was the final one, when its show ended first, there was at least a few years until season 5 of Phineas and Ferb happened. Was there any people that made a petition for to bring back season 5 or even more seasons of Phineas and Ferb? Maybe. If there were, I never heard of it. But they actually did bring back season 5, and honestly, if anyone even asked, what have I thought about it? I'm here to say I don't know, since I haven't even seen season 5 yet. I've seen clips from it, and there's actually one episode that's kind of freaky. That suit like look that Buford made that looks like Candice. Yeah, and somehow that machine that Doofenshmirtz made and by accident turned that suit alive. Yeah, I was like, what the? Seriously? That kind of episode? It's freaky as what? Like freaky 1 to 10? I'd say 9.5. Boy, that's. Whew, yikes. Yeah, so I think. I mean, I'm probably gonna watch season 5 of Phineas and Ferb. I'm not so certain. I want to be so surprised that there's gonna be season 6 or perhaps even 5 form season of Phineas and Ferb, so a total of 10 seasons. Even if that would happen, I don't know. So season 5 of Phineas and Ferb. If anyone asks me if I've seen it, no, I hadn't, but I'm going to. But like I said, the one about that when they had that Candice suit alive, yeah, that one. Even though I've seen clips on that, just that episode, it's freaky as hell. It didn't even ask for it to be alive, but yeah, I was like, oh man, that's yeah. I mean, but here's another thing. They did make 2 movies of Phineas and Ferb, and will it be even more movies about it if the series continues for a few more seasons? I'm here to say the chances for that is pretty high. I mean, considering that the first movie, the Cross the Second Dimension, was actually really good, I mean, I love that movie, and so much action. And even after the movie ended, and then continued for several more episodes on that series, and sure, there were some episodes that was not good. Some were decent, was really good, and some were absolutely amazing. Some episodes kind of didn't make sense at all, but it's just how the things are. Sometimes shows actually brings out the funniest part of it. That's even they were not intended to that. And I have to say, Phineas and Ferb actually is one of the best series ever since it first was made. And I mean, they were one of the best shows back in the 2010s or 2020s, something like that. So I think Phineas and Ferb should be an award for, say, the best show of the year or the best show in a decade. That would have been pretty awesome. But hey, at least when they announced the season five is gonna happen, I was wondering, will they have to replace some of the actors, the voice actors for the show? But it turns out they didn't. They kept every single original cast from the season four and in the new season, which I think actually good. But the only that's say G5 and MLP in the first movie they make them about make you they made of G5, and when the Make You Mark series started shortly afterwards, they weren't even same voice actors, not at all, which is a little bit disappointing. But I understand if that would happen. Let's say like this in a 2017 movie that MLP did of G4, where they brought uh, Songbird Serenade, the pop singer. If they would have brought her back in for future episodes of G4, would it still be the same voice actor, or at least the singer Sia? Would she have been the voice acting for her? I don't even know. I don't think so, at least. I mean, even though Tara Strong, who made the voice for Twilight and probably even a few others in his G4, after G4 ended, she said that she has no more further plans to play as any other MLP characters. But plot twist, that actually did happen. Only for once. Only one episode in G5. When the hologram of Twilight happened. But that was the only of that happened. At least in G5 I know of. But yeah, it's still pretty much sadly that they used end G5 like that. And well, I think that's pretty much what I want to talk about since I lasted for nearly 2.5 hours. Man, that's pretty long. Well, not that long as usually I normally do. And it's past 4 a.m. for me. And if anyone else like, I'm tired, nah, not really. I probably wouldn't even go to bed for the next, I don't know, 4, 5 hours for now, perhaps. So, yeah, I think I'll probably end the stream here anyway, since nearly 2.5 hours, and I think I talked much what I wanted to talk about. So, see you next time, Cody. So, until next time, everyone. As always, this is Diablo signing off. Bye and ciao.